Chapter 2. The Lost Book of Eurythimus. It was a girl, and from what Jack could see, she had long, wavy dark hair, and he guessed that she had to be no older than he was. It was the first time Jack had ever encountered anyone else up here before, but still, he wasn't going to let a girl ruin his favourite spot in daydreams. So, as to not startle the girl, Jack pressed on to the edge of the hill and simply sat down and began to stare out just like he had planned on doing. He was just about to start pondering about his dream again when suddenly the girl spoke. "Oh, hello there," she said in a rather friendly voice. "Emma Datness is my name. What's yours?" "Mine?" asked Jack. "Do you see anyone else around here?" asked Emma, pretending to look around for someone other than Jack. "No, I guess not," said Jack, feeling quite embarrassed. "My name's Jack Hart. Do you often come up here? It's just that I come up here all the time, and I've never seen anyone else up here before." "No, actually," said Emma. "You could say that I'm a bit of a traveller. I'm not from around here, and I wanted to rest for a moment, and I saw this hill and thought it looked like a nice spot out the way." Jack looked at Emma with complete awe. Right here in front of him was everything he himself had wanted to do. Get out of Wrangleton and see other sights and other places. "Oh, wow, really? A traveller? That's amazing. Where are you from? Where are you going?" Jack couldn't contain himself. Questions and thoughts filled his brain, and soon he realized he hadn't stopped to breathe. Emma chuckled. "Wow, kiddo, take a breather." There was suddenly an enormous amount of pride in her voice now. "If you want my life story, I'll fill you up to date if you have a spare 4 hours," said Emma, as she laid back and gazed into the sky. 4 hours, thought Jack. He knew he had no plans for the rest of the day, but did he really want to sit and listen to Emma talk for 4 hours? Some of Jack's confusion must have shown on his face, because at that point, Emma spoke again. "It's a figure of speech. I just mean there's a lot to tell." Jack gave a sigh of relief and laughed at himself for not seeing the sarcasm. "Oh, I see. Well, I'm not doing anything, so if you want to tell me, I'd be more than happy to listen," said Jack, trying not to sound too eager. "Well, in that case, ask away, and I shall answer in the best and honest way I can," said Emma, very proper sounding. Jack suddenly felt very red in the face and started racking his mind to try and figure out what to ask first. In the end, he went for something friendly. "So whereabouts are you from then, if not here?" "I'm from the town of Fronston, on the other side of the forest. When I set out on my journey, I had no idea that it was so big. I was in there for about 3 days. I thought I was lost until I noticed the trees getting thinner and it was becoming lighter and lighter." When Jack realized she had finished speaking, his eyes fell on the thing that Emma was carrying with her. "Is that a sword?" he asked sheepishly. "Sure is," says Emma, now standing up. "You want to see it?" "Yes, please," shouted Jack more louder than he intended. "All right then," Emma said simply. She got to her feet and withdrew her sword as freely as though it was made of plastic. Jack's eyes widened with an extreme desire to hold it, but he thought that might be pushing it a bit. But once again, his eyes showed his eagerness, because Emma suddenly came out with, "Do you want to hold it? It looks heavier than it is, don't worry." And without responding, Jack held out his left hand, and Emma flipped the sword so she caught the blade and the handle was facing him. Jack gripped the handle, expecting it to be heavier than he was. But Emma was right. It was amazingly light. All of a sudden, Jack had an image of himself being the hero who saved the world, but as soon as the thought came, it vanished. When he came back from his daydream, it had another question for Emma. "Have you ever killed anyone with this?" Jack immediately regretted asking this. I wasn't even sure if he wanted to know the answer. "Anyone as in people, you mean?" "No, I haven't, but I could if I needed to. But no, for now it's mainly used on animals for eating and using it to protect myself," said Emma, taking back the blade and putting it away. So this girl, Emma, had a bit of a wild streak at her. But strangely enough, Jack didn't feel scared or threatened by her in any way, even with her sword out in the open. It wouldn't have bothered me if you had," lied Jack. "I was just curious." They both sat quietly for a bit after that. Emma was now sitting up with her legs crossed and picking away at the grass, while Jack lay down, kneeling on his elbows, looking over at Wrangleton. "You said you always come up here, right?" asked Emma. "Yeah, that's right," said Jack, shocked that she was now asking him something. "How come? I mean, yeah, it's quite a nice view and everything, but surely that can't be why you come back all the time, is it?" It was scary how quickly Emma was figuring out Jack and getting everything she guessed correct. Well, no, you're right, said Jack. The main reason I come up here is so I can get away from the village and think. Every time I come up here, I stare out onto the forest and the mountains and think how badly I want to see what's beyond them. So why don't you? Asked Emma, almost sounding as though the answer was obvious. Are you serious? Asked Jack, definitely sounding shocked this time. What do you mean, why don't I? Look at me. I'm tiny. My father would never let me. And besides, I don't even have a sword. I'd be dead within 2 days. Yeah, you're not wrong there, boy. You wouldn't last very long without any training. Training? Asked Jack, not bothering to hide his confusion anymore. Yes, Jack, training. Come with me on my journey, and I'll train you, and I'll help you develop your own skills. What do you say? Emma was now standing and had a hand out to Jack. Very quickly, Jack's heroic visions were flooding back into his mind again, and before he knew it, he was grabbing Emma's hand, and they headed back down the hill towards where Jack lived. Wait, said Jack out of nowhere. Why are you so keen to teach me and have me come with you? You come up here just to daydream about what might be beyond those? Emma pointed towards the mountains. I can just tell you need to get out and see them. And besides, I've never seen anyone react to my sword the way you did. Jack felt his face redden once more. Nope, absolutely not, Simon kept saying over and over again. Oh, come on, Dad, this is what I've always dreamed of doing. Emma's been trained her whole life, so if we come to any real danger, we'll be okay, shouted Jack back at his father in a tone of begging. Really, Mr. Hart, said Emma, bringing herself into the argument. I've been training for years for this sort of thing. Your boy is safe with me. But you're still both only kids. Jack, you're only 12. And Miss Datness, dear, I'm sorry, but how old are you again? Asked Simon. Please, sir, I'm 14 years old, said Emma now, she too almost sounding like she was begging. You could get one of the boys from the village to help all the errands I usually do, Dad. You won't have to worry about me. I'm in safe arms, right, Emma? Said Jack, nudging Emma softly in her ribcage. Yes, of course. Please, Mr. Hart, you can trust us, said Emma, smiling. It went very quiet while Simon began to pace the room, stroking his chin, muttering to himself. Where will you go, though? Asked Simon, staring at the two of them. Jack looked at Emma, and Emma looked at Jack, wondering what to say. This was one topic they had not yet discussed. They had ideas, but not a destination, until Emma broke the silence and calmly said, The city of Aldorgelu, sir. Both Simon and Jack stared at Emma, but she kept on staring directly into Simon's eyes and didn't blink. The city of Aldorgelu? Asked Jack as quietly as he could without showing his mouth moving. That's awfully far, my dear, said Simon in a concerned tone rather than a worried one. I know it is, sir, but I know how to get there, said Emma sharply. You'll take care of Jack, won't you? Asked Simon for what seemed like the 400th time. He's my number one priority, said Emma. Then yes, you may both go, said Simon, smiling. That night, Jack and Emma decided to sleep in the lounge so they could wake each other if they were running late. Do you really know the way to Aldorgelu, Emma? Asked Jack, with the sound of awe back in his voice. To be honest, Jack, I only have a rough idea. I said I knew the way so he would let you come with me, said Emma, not looking up at Jack. Hey, a rough idea is better than none, I say, said Jack excitingly. There is something I'm not telling you, Jack, said Emma quietly. What? Asked Jack, sounding a little worried. The real reason why I left and became a traveller. I'm looking for Eurythimus' lost book. Jack raised both his eyebrows and waited for Emma to carry on speaking, but she did not, so Jack simply asked her, I'm sorry, who lost the book? You mean you've never heard of it? You've never heard of Eurythimus and his legendary creation? Asked Emma, as her jaw hanged open in surprise. Jack thought for a moment. No, I've never heard of anyone by that name or any kind of creation. Wow, said Emma. Everyone back in Fronston dreams of finding the book and discovering what the creation is. So no one knows what the creation is, and the book will tell you about it? Asked Jack as he tried to get his head around everything. Yes, Jack. Long ago, the most powerful wizard of all time, also known as Eurythimus, created this most amazing weapon of some kind. It has been seen for so long that no one alive knows or where it is. Well, someone might be, but they're keeping it secret, said Emma. It sounded like she had dreamed of finding this weapon for a long time. Okay, I understand that part, said Jack. But then how do you know about this lost book? If it's lost, no one should really know about it, should they? People know about the book because they have heard the legend and the stories, but since it was such a long time ago, the stories have been twisted and exaggerated to the point when you don't know what to believe. But the book exists, Jack, and I'm going to find it, and then I'm going to find that weapon. Once Emma had finished saying all this, she rolled onto her side, facing away from Jack, indicating that she was done talking and off to sleep. This wasn't very ideal for Jack because now he was buzzing with all sorts of questions about this Eurythimus person. Why hadn't his father ever mentioned him? Did he not know either? Maybe he had something before and Jack hadn't noticed it. The sound of Emma's soft breathing made Jack realize he should try and get some sleep too. He had no idea what he was going to encounter the next day. Jack tried to relax and close his eyes, but he could not. First thing he knew, he was meeting a stranger called Emma who decided to take him alongside her travels, and then there's rumors of those two finding an old lost book which will unlock the secrets to this legendary weapon. It all seemed too good to be true. After the umpteenth time of Jack seeing himself as king of the world, his eyes began to droop and feel heavy. And before he knew it, Jack was snoring lightly and back in his dreamland state again.